was supposed to pitch last weekend against Brooklyn, had a little finger thing that bumped him back a turn. So here he is ready to go. His first professional season, and he's off to a really nice start. 22-year-old from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. Justin Connell leads it off for the Blue Rocks, and Skirrow's first pitch is a curveball for a strike on the outside corner, and the count 0-1. Connell 0 for 2. He has popped to short and struck out in his first 2 at-bats today. Wilmington run 4 hits. BlueClaws no runs, 3 hits. And here's a sky-high fly ball down the right field line. Ortiz sprinting after it, but runs out of room. It's back in the first base picnic area, out of play, and actually caroms all the way back down into right field. No balls and 2 strikes on Justin Connell. 1-0 Wilmington, top of the 6th. So Skirrow, Tony, is pitching last year at Liberty University in Virginia. He had fallen in love with North Carolina, and that was kind of his dream school. And, you know, he kind of lost track of them. They hadn't called in a while. Suddenly he gets a call, and it's his recruiter from North Carolina, fastball high, and the count 1-2, and he's at Liberty in Virginia. So Noah ended up going there, was there for 3 years. Last spring, they are on a bus. They had just played in Morgantown, West Virginia, against the Mountaineers. Here's the 1-2, and that's line foul down first out of play, still 1-2. And they're on their way to go to Columbus to play Ohio State. And the bus pulls over into a rest stop, and the coach gets on the bus and says, or gets, you know, on the microphone or whatever, and tells them that, look, we're stopping here. Obviously, things are moving really fast as far as the virus goes, and nobody really knows what's going on. Swinging him is strike 3. So Connell is out, 1 away. And Noah comes in, gets a quick strikeout to start the 6th. And that'll bring up Jake Alou. So they say, look, we're going to stop here at this rest stop, because if we keep going to Columbus, our driver's not going to have enough hours to get us back home tonight. So they wait there. Sure enough, the Big Ten announces that they're canceling all games and suspending the season. Little did they know at that time that that would be the final bus trip, essentially, for Liberty and everybody's baseball teams last spring. Strike through the lefty, Jake Galoo, in the count, no balls and a strike. So they go back to Virginia, and then Skirrow gets ready for the draft. And he said the whole draft experience was kind of a whirlwind for him. He had heard he might go, and that's curveball low, in the count, 1 ball, 1 strike. Now remember, it's a 5-round draft. He heard early 4, then he said he heard mid 4, and late 4, and early 5, and he was ready to get picked, and he's watching the whole thing, and they never called his name. So, you know, obviously a little disappointed, of course. Here's the 1-1, and that one fouled away third base side, and the count 1-2. And, you know, of course, that's the natural reaction you're supposed to do. And he was a little bit, but, you know, he said it's okay because you're going to get, and he knew he'd get an opportunity as a non-drafted free agent. So a couple of days go by after the draft, and then that's when the free agent period begins. 1-2, swing at him, his high fastball, strike 3. 2 down, and that'll bring up Israel Pineda. So at 9 o'clock on the first day, that's when teams can start contacting undrafted players. So Skirrow's phone rings at 8:58. Mike Agostino from the Phillies. And Skirrow answers the phone, and the Phillies tell him, he said, hey, it says 9 o'clock over here. We're good to go. So, sure enough, they start talking. He said he's on the phone with them for about half hour as Israel Pineda bounces one foul. And the count 0-1. On the phone with the Phillies for about a half hour. And when he hung up the phone, he had like 15 voicemails. He said the first day his phone died 3 times. 0-1 pitch, fastball strike over the outside corner, and the count is 0-2. And the Phillies were the first team that had reached out, and they put together a plan that he thought fit him the best. And sure enough, he ended up signing with Philadelphia. Here's the 0-2, fastball outside, count 1-2. I don't think it was the deciding factor, but it didn't hurt that he got a call from a Philadelphia number one day and answered the phone, thought it was a scout or whatever, and it was Joe Girardi. 1-2 pitch, breaking ball outside. He said he was kind of in shock that Girardi had called him. And he said he remembers that. He said, hopefully someday you'll get to play for me. And he said Philadelphia is a great place to live and raise a family. Those are the things that he remembered from that call. 2-2 pitch is grounded to second, past the mound. Right there is Cole Stobie, the second baseman. Tosses to Stewart at first, and that retires the side. Nice and easy 1-2-3 inning for Noah Skirrow, Ryan Smith, Omar Merihildo, and Yasel Antuna. And Skirrow steps off for a sec. Noah had a 1-2-3 sixth inning, 2 strikeouts and a ground out. And he's into the line. We're ready to go. First pitch of the 7th is way outside of the count. 1 ball and no strikes. Skirrow last pitched May 29th, which was 13 days ago. He had a little finger thing that bumped back his turn a few days. Here's a chopper to short. Guzman there backhands it. Steps, throws, and in time. Had him played perfectly up near the bag. So a 6-3 put out, 1 away. And that'll bring up Merihildo, who struck out and grounded out so far tonight. Joanna Doan's day is over. Wilmington has some action in their bullpen, and they'll make the switch for the bottom half of the 7th. Doan goes 6 innings, gives up 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, strikes out 8, and is in line for his 2nd win of the season. And the first pitch is a strike, 0-1 on Merihildo. Skirrow from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And that's a fastball low. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Said he went to a couple Blue Jays games as a kid. Loved baseball. And that was a sport for him. He ended up playing collegiately at Liberty in Virginia. Fastball inside. And the count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Loved Roy Halladay, Tony, of course, as he was pitching for the Blue Jays when Noah was growing up. There's the 2-1, and that is a little low. 3 balls and 1 strike. So Jersey Shore trailing 1-0, top 7. What's turned into a really pleasant evening. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Line drive down the right field line. There's a base hit. Ortiz chasing after it, slides and cuts it off. Gets to his feet and fires it in, holding Merihildo to a single. Nope.
Really hustling play by Ortiz. Again, showing off that athletic ability we talked about. He raced over to cut it off before it got past him into the corner, and then turned around and threw a strike towards second base. And keeps Merihildo at first to begin the 7th. So leadoff man is on here now for...
No, 1 out.
1 out in the top of the 7th. Important here for the BlueClaws to just keep it a 1-run game.
That's a play that Ortiz would not have made 3 years ago. Fastball high, and the count is 1-0 on Yasel Antuna. You know, that's not only, Tony, is that a good physical play, but mentally to realize that that's the only way you're going to keep him from getting a 2-base hit. 1-0 pitch is popped up by Antuna. Third base side, into foul ground goes the third baseman Fosnot in front of the coaching box, and he makes a 2-handed catch for the 2nd out. So Antuna's retired 2 away, and that'll bring up Andrew Pratt, the designated hitter, who is responsible for the only run of this game on a solo homer in the 3rd. Pratt was collegiate teammates of BlueClaws outfielder Keaton Greenwald, who unfortunately for the BlueClaws had the best view of the home run as it flew over his head. It landed out on the outfield concourse. And that is a curveball for a strike. Lubbock Christian Division II, obviously in Lubbock. Pratt grew up in Albuquerque. And that pitch is way outside. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike. 4 for 23 on the year is Pratt. The runner at first, Merihildo, not a threat to steal. Skirrow out of the stretch. Here's the 1-1. And that is a called strike on the inside corner. And the count is 1-2. Cole Stobie, Nate Fosnot, and Hunter Hearn. And then Greenwald for the BlueClaws when we go to the bottom half of inning number 7. 1-0 Wilmington. Skirrow out of the stretch, the 1-2 in the dirt. A slider blocked by Logan O'Hoppe, and the count 2-2. 7:05 tomorrow. BlueClaws and Blue Rocks, and Kevin Gowdy will start tomorrow for Jersey Shore. And then 1:05 on Sunday, Jonathan Hughes will get the ball in that game. BlueClaws in Hudson Valley next week. 2-2 on Andrew Pratt. Skirrow's pitch, swing and a miss. He gets him on a high fastball. Jersey Shore with Tony Graham. I'm Greg Jamborisi. So the only run of the game, a home run by Andrew Pratt of Wilmington back in the third. And that's been it. 1 run, 5 hits for the Blue Rocks. 1 run, no runs, 4 hits for Jersey Shore. Well, Tony, we'll see if the BlueClaws can. There's a line drive back up the middle, base hit, come back in this game, but it would behoove them to have Skirrow put a 0 on the board here in the 8th inning. So Lara, who was hitting 185, starts the 8th inning with a base hit to center, and that'll turn the lineup over and bring up Gage Canning, the leadoff man and center fielder for Wilmington.
BlueClaws will have the top of the order. Marquardt, Guzman, and O'Hoppe in the bottom of the 8th.
Showing bunt, pushing it beautifully to third is Canning. Picked up by Fosnot. He fires to first in time. Skirrow heads over the pitcher to cover third, and that'll be a sacrifice. Score it 5-3, and there's one away as Lara moves it ahead, Tony, to second. So a very good bunt.
Yeah, old school baseball, you don't see that a whole lot, especially at the big league level anymore.
Hey, you don't see it. You don't see it a lot at this level either.
But they do advance the runner now for the 2 and 3 hitters.
That's only the second sacrifice bunt against the BlueClaws this year. The BlueClaws have only sacrificed twice, and for Wilmington, that's their 5th of the season.
As you said, you don't see it a lot at this level either.
Here's Justin Connell, right-handed hitter, pitched by Skirrow, strike on the outside corner fastball, and that runs it to 0-1. Jersey Shore trailing 1-0, top 8, runner at second here for Wilmington. And Skirrow out of the stretch, the 1-0, breaking ball high. So we were talking, Tony, about Skirrow. He went undrafted, and then he goes into the, you described it right, I think, it's the recruiting process.
Yeah.
So he's recruited by a bunch of teams. He said he talked about 19 teams from around Major League Baseball, but decided on the Phillies. And I asked him what were the things he was looking for when picking a spot, because the money was going to be the same no matter what. Breaking ball outside of the count, 2 balls and a strike. And he said one that they kind of have a development plan for him that he kind of agrees with. He wanted to be a starter, and said, look, you can always start and then move into the pen if you have to, but it's a lot harder to go from a reliever to a starter. He wanted to be seen as a starter from day one with his new organization, which he has been. Fastball, strike on the inside corner, and the count is 2-2 on Connell. And then the other thing he kind of said was like, well, how would we be treated as a group of undrafted free agents? Would it be like a 6th, 7th, 8th round pick from a normal year, or would it be like an undrafted free agent from a normal year? But he said from the beginning, the Phillies, obviously welcomed him into the organization, had a good plan laid out for him, talked to a number of people throughout the organization, from the area scout to the big league manager. 2-2, fouled away first base side. The count still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Again, here are these now professionals went through the recruiting process en route to college, and little did they know at the time they would be recruited again.
Yeah. Except in college, they're not supposed to give you a 5-figure check.
Yeah, right, yeah. A different sort of recruitment, but a recruitment.
But no, it's a lot. I mean, it's certainly a lot closer to that experience than what a draft pick would go through. Fastball high in the count, 3-2. Draft pick, they call your name, you get in a plane. So, have fun.
But you're right. Pitchers like Skirrow and others normally would be, 8, 9, 10, probably in that area. Had the draft gone longer. This year it's 20 rounds, right?
Yeah. It's also a month later Normally, for years it had been in early June. Around now. It'd usually be done by now. But they pushed it back till after the college season, and it will be a part of the MLB All-Star festivities.
Are the plans to have anyone drafted this year join their organizations this year?
3-2 pitch is high, just missed, an off-speed pitch, ball 4. Skirrow thought he had him, but he walks Justin Connell, and that's 2 on and 1 out. Now that walk is not a killer. First base was open, sets up a double play, but now you got to deal with a dangerous hitter with 2 men on base in second baseman Jake Alou. As far as I know,
so if you're drafted in July, now the minor league season goes a couple of weeks into September this year. So
my guess would be that I'm sure a few guys, maybe not all of them, certainly, but a few, because remember, there's still guys in extended spring training now. But I think some of the older players that get selected could end up in Clearwater this year. I don't know about here. I guess it's possible. Here's Alou, and a fastball is in there for his strike. I mean, there'll be guys that they draft out of college that'll be older than some of the Clearwater players. We would, in the low A days, the Sally League days with the BlueClaws, we would always end up with what, about
a couple.
Depends on the year, but 3, 4, 5. Usually they were relief pitchers. Chopped to first for Stewart. Backhands, looks at second, throws and hits the runner in the back, and everybody is safe. So that'll be a fielder's choice E3 on the throw, and that'll load up the bases.
Well, Stewart had the right idea, but the result loads the bases now with 1 out.
Yeah, not an easy play because, and he tried to kind of throw it sidearm, drop his arm down a little bit, but he hit the runner right in the back, Justin Connell. I mean, maybe you could say, well, if he didn't have the angle, just get the out at first, but, not that easy. So, an error on Stewart. That loads the bases for Israel Pineda. And now the BlueClaws in a very dangerous position. First pitch fouled back into the screen. It's 0-1. A base hit here by Pineda would blow this game open. BlueClaws have not scored yet. They only have 4 hits. So, certainly, they don't want to fall behind by more than the 1 run they trail by now. Breaking ball, that is low, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
So Pineda 17 for 111 on the season, 153, 6 homers, 13 runs batted in. The cleanup batter and a top 20 prospect of the Nationals.
BlueClaws will try to turn 2. Breaking ball hit high in the air to shallow center. Marquardt coming in. We'll see if they send Lara from third. Marquardt makes the catch. Lara bluffs to draw the throw, which is cut off. And Noah Skirrow gets a huge out, getting Pineda pop out to shallow center. 2 down, and the bases remain loaded.
Well, another one of these mile-high pop-ups. We've seen a few of them in this series. And that was way up there into the dark sky. And now it is 2 outs. Bases loaded. Should have theoretically been the 3rd out had the error not been committed. But now he's got to face, Skirrow does, Jacob Reinsmith.
Yeah, he's a dangerous hitter.
Homered last night, 0 for 3 tonight. 27 for 103 on the season. Does have 4 home runs at number 4 last night, 15 in his career. So he's
Hubby goes out to have a quick chat with Skirrow before Reinsmith steps in.
An established minor league ball player is Reinsmith, drafted 18th round, 2018. Left-hand hitter. Hit one on the right field berm last night.
Yeah, that was a shot line drive in game 2. First pitch, the bases loaded, is outside. It's 1-0. So he's flown to left, flown to center, and grounded to short in this game, 0 for 4. His 2-run home run yesterday was his 4th of the season. Left-handed batter from Shakopee, Minnesota. Played collegiately at Western Kentucky. 1 ball, no strike. Fastball outside. And it's 2-0, so Skirrow's got to throw a strike here. You don't want to fall behind 3-0 with the bases loaded. 1-0 Wilmington. We're in the visiting 8th at First Energy Park. And the BlueClaws hanging on. but a base hit here could blow this game open for Wilmington. 2-0. Outside corner called strike, 2-1.
No action whatsoever in the BlueClaws bullpen, so this is all Skirrow here. Try to get this last out and get through this 8th inning.
So 2 balls and 1 strike. The count here on the left-handed hitting Jacob Rhinesmith. And a check swing, and it gets through. O'Hoppe and back to the screen. A run will score on the wild pitch, and it's 2-0 Wilmington. So not what Skirrow had in mind, a wild pitch. The run is unearned, but Wilmington now has a 2-0 lead. So it's a wild pitch of all things that ends up putting Wilmington up by a pair. And the 2-2 is on the inside corner. Got him with a fastball, strike 3. Right
But
here.
that won't be of
any Energy Park. Charlie's Pizza is the official pizza of the Jersey Shore BlueClaws. Omar Merihildo leading it off here for Wilmington, Nationals affiliate, in the 9th inning. 2-0 lead for the Blue Rocks. 2-6-1, and the BlueClaws no runs, 4 hits, and 1 error. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. That error was a costly one, though, on DJ Stewart, a throwing error in the 8th, and that led to an unearned run, which means it's a 2-0 game. And that pitch is outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Kevin Gowdy tomorrow for the BlueClaws. Breaking ball skips into the dirt. 2-1. Jonathan Hughes will throw Sunday at 1:05 in the series finale. Then 2 weeks on the road, Tony. Will be quite the time between drinks here at FEP for the BlueClaws. And swing and a miss by Merihildo. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Greg, the BlueClaws tonight have left 7, and they are 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They have left runners aboard in each of the last 5 innings.
2-2 pitch, breaking ball high, 3-2. So 3-2 the count here on Omar Merihildo. Skirrow's pitch is fouled back into the screen, and the count still 3-2. And that one cut on and missed, strike 3. And that's out number 1. 5 strikeouts for Skirrow, who hasn't pitched in a couple of weeks. But Tony, he certainly looks good here tonight.
Yeah, he should have gotten out of that 8th inning unscathed, and error prolonged it, and then he uncorked a wild pitch with the bases loaded. That netted Wilmington its 2nd run.
And Tuna hits a high pop into shallow right center. Out goes Stobie, and it's his ball. He's there, and he makes the catch. 2 up, 2 down in the 9th, and that'll bring up Andrew Pratt. So looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, it'll be DJ Stewart, Cole Stobie, and Nate Fosnot against Malvin Pena, who will stay in there and look for what would be a save and his 2nd of the season. He had one with Wilmington back on May 26th. Here's here is right-handed hitting Andrew Pratt, who has a home run today, and takes a breaking ball outside. It's 1 ball and no strikes. So Skirrow's allowed 1 unearned run over 3 2/3 innings and drills a fastball strike over the outside corner. So Tony, if he gets this last out, 19 1/3 innings for Skirrow this season and only 2 earned runs. And the 1-1 is inside, 2-1.
Phillies will be glad they made that early 8:58 a.m., 9 a.m. phone call, depending on the clock you were reading, to be first in line for his services.
2-1, cut on it, missed, and the count is 2-2. Yeah, we told the story before if you missed it. the first day that teams were able to contact undrafted free agents, the period began at 9 a.m. The Phillies called them at 8:58 and said, "That's all right. It's 9 o'clock here." Swing and a miss, strike 3, and that retires the side. 6 strikeouts over 4 very good innings for Noah Skirrow. Gave up only 2 hits and 1 unearned run. Blue Claws down 2-0. Last chance. We go to the bottom of the 9th. You're listening to Blue Claws Baseball on BlueClaws.com and MILB TV.